Hello class, in this video I'm going to start getting you introduced to Inventor. This is an amazing 3D modeling program made by Autodesk. I hope you really enjoy it. For my classes, we are going to be using Inventor with the design intent to go to a 3D printer. So when we talk about design intent in class, what we're talking about is where are we trying to get to with this design, and my intent for this class will be to go to a 3D printer. So when you open up Inventor, you come to a screen like this. You can open up a basic part drawing, assembly, or presentation. For most videos, we will, and most of the things we're going to be doing in this class, we will deal with parts. When we get into engineering and advanced, we start getting into the assemblies and the presentations. We may get into drawings in this class as well. So what I like to do, instead of coming here and grabbing a default, I like to come up here to the new, and you're gonna get this neat little window that's gonna show up. And from here, if you come in here, it says templates. I can open up my templates, and I can know that I'm going to English, US, and I can pick a couple different things in here. Maybe I wanted a mold design, so that'd be an assembly in here. Metrics puts me in millimeters, centimeters, things like that, but metrics. So I can create a standard part with millimeters. But for this one, I'm going to use English so I can work in inches. Now, there are a couple different options you're going to have in here. For this example, we're going to go into a standard inch part. It's going to do that. And it's going to load up for me. Now, in here, a couple things to understand when you're working. And again, I'm not drawing anything in this video. All I'm doing is getting you introduced to it. We have our tabs across the top here. We have our ribbon, which is right here, like you'd have in any other program. Over here, this is the project browser. We'll get into this in a second. On the right, we have a view cube, which will allow us to change directions. We can look at tops. We can look at back, side, or bottom, front again. We could turn one way, have the left, again, back, right. We can spin this thing so we're looking at just corners. We're looking at edges, so on and so forth. And if we ever get turned around, we can real quick hit the home button. It puts us back. Another thing that I want to point out is this wheel right here, navigation wheel. We can zoom in and out of different objects. We can orbit around with them, pan, and rewind if we want to walk backwards on things. And then finally, I'm going to come over here to the project browser. And the neat thing about 3D modeling, especially with Inventor, right now we are just kind of designing in space. It's just sitting out there. But without any type of reference, then we don't know how to really connect things. We can't really get things to work, nor would we be able to view them. So Inventor puts in a couple different reference planes or axis or points. So let's look at these things. If I was to create a new sketch, which you're going to do, when you work with Inventor, you always start from new sketch and then expand upon there. I'm just going to hit this real quick. And the reason for that is this is showing me every one of my reference parts in here. So the big gold squares here, these are the reference planes. I have an XY. So it'd be kind of like if you're used to an XY plot in math or something like that. Very similar. So if this was across the XY, this one here is my YZ. You can also see it right here. My Y goes up and down with the green arrow. My Z is blue. It's going this way. So this is YZ, which then would make this one here XZ, because we're working across between here and here. So these are our different planes that we will typically work off of if we wanted to know where an axis was, which instead of being a flat plane that we can work off, it would be a straight line. We then can come here, we have this axis right here is our y-axis, kind of goes vertical here. Our x-axis is working at this angle, and our z-axis would be front to back. Now, the reason this thing is turned is because our view cube is turned. I can spin these things all around, and you can see this all turn for us. Now, you're probably saying, why is this important? Because if you know how you want to orient your object, so when you're looking at it just from the front or from this home, you can say, okay, maybe I'm going to have my main look from the front, which is going to be my XY plane, I can then make sure that these parts are set up correctly. And I'm starting with the right spot, going to the right plane. Ultimately, does it matter? No, you can have things completely backwards, and all it means is you have to hunt for it where to reference back to on the view cube. But this is real quick, the Inventor interface. We're going to go into all these other things during another video. Down at the bottom here, I am going to point this out. We can go through and we can have multiple things showing up. I'm just going to go back to, I'll come back to that, man. Uh, there we go. Expand it back up. As you save these things, you have multiple tabs open, or just like multiple files, and it'll show up in here. Since I haven't saved mine yet, and this is the second part that I've opened up, this is part 2. Oh, almost forgot. I missed one more thing in my reference. This is the center point. The center point is where all of this comes together, right there. That is the origin center point, which we'll get into a little bit more on future videos. All right, with that said, welcome to Inventor. Let's go to the next video and we can start working with this.